Welcome to Community Insight. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Coles. We always bring in information and bring in special guests on this broadcast to share information that you need. So I'm telling you right now, get your pen, your pencil, your paper ready, and get ready for this exciting news and information coming to you today. Today we have a good friend of mine, as she had been here before, Miss Vicky. Miss Vicky, welcome to the
Thank you
broadcast.
so much. Glad to be here.
Well, we're so glad to have you. And I know you're going to share some information with us. And I'm going to let you go ahead and start. You are what are called advanced care planning.
I am.
And if could you share it with the audience, what exactly is that?
Well, Advanced Care Planning is actually a program that we offer through ECU Health, but it helps you get your affairs in order as far as your health care. Now, this would be if you were in the hospital or someone had to make some medical decisions for you. We don't do anything with money or your property. That's kind of out of our league, but this is a free service that we offer to the community.
Okay. And some people may say, like, what is health? They may get a little confused on what exactly what you're saying. I know what you're saying. When things happen in the hospital, there's certain things that it's like playing a card. I have power in this decision. If you could explain that exactly what they, for those who understand what that is.
Well, we really think it's a process, and what we really want you to do is think about what's really important to you as far as what makes your life worth living, what things are really, you know, a part of your life that you don't want to give up. Because 90% of us at some point will not be able to speak for ourselves, which means someone else is going to have to be our voice. I want to make sure, and everyone out there should make sure, that they have the right voice speaking for them. Because you want someone who thinks like you do, you want someone that can handle an emergency situation, a crisis, someone who can help manage your family and loved ones during a crisis, because we know that can sometimes get sticky. But it's just an opportunity to think about it ahead of time, to talk with your family, your loved ones about what you would want. And then there's a legal document in the state of North Carolina that we can put in place that gives the doctors the authority to follow it. And it gives us some legal backing to do what we need to do, because we want to treat you the way you want to be treated, but we have to know how you want to be treated.
You know, that is so key. And a lot of times we may set up our appointments and I Google and Zoom calendar on what we're going to do today, but we don't really set up when things happen because, like, in one moment you could be in your right mind and anything can happen. Anything, a tragedy, anything can
Even a
happen.
pandemic, huh?
Even a pandemic, there you go, could happen,
Things
and
happen.
and we don't have things in place to understand. And a lot of times people think they know, and they don't know. And one of the things I find that is the most a big family feels is when someone pass away. It could be where, well, that's my mama, or that's my father, and not knowing that mom and dad or grandma or even child, put some things in place. That's my daughter. I mean, I know you
Yeah,
her husband, but that's my daughter, and
exactly.
you understand. But
Exactly.
but I'm her husband, and we put some things in place. And so that's so important to have that type of document available to saying, well, this is how I want to be, and I guess it's just as important. And I'm not promoting this, but it's just important for those who want to be donors.
Exactly. These are things that you want to think about ahead of time. If you stop to think of those things during a medical crisis, you're not thinking clearly at that point in time. Everybody's upset, they're anxious, and you just can't think correctly or smartly during that time. And we see so many problems within the hospital at times with families, because they do, just like you said, one wants this, one wants that. And we have so many parents that will tell us, oh, my children know what I want. And we tell people all the time, they don't know what you want unless you tell them. You might think they know what you want, but they're going to question themselves in a crisis situation. And they're not going to be sure that they really do know what you want. So it's best just to have these conversations ahead of time.
And I concur with it because I know that there's an old movie. Some people may know my age by me telling about this movie here, and the movie is called Invitation of Life. And this movie, if those who haven't seen it, is an old movie, yes, but it really explained about how this woman, how she actually set her homecoming service, how
Hmm.
she want things done. How I mean, it's so important of us knowing that, and it's a good movie. I'm not going to take the spoil for anybody who chose to watch this
Okay.
movie, but it's a good movie for you to watch. It's called The Invitation of Life. Good movie to take a look at. But I also look at that it's so important to, as family, know when these things happen, when a tragedy happen, no one knows what to do. Your mind is your
You're out
mind.
there. Yeah.
You know your
Yeah.
body's there, but your mind on the other side of town,
Exactly.
and things happen, and you trying to figure this out. And you got a police officer asking questions, and you got the news people trying to get this stuff in the story, and your mind is going through so much to knowing that at least there should be things to be set up how things you want things in your household, a living will. I'm not promoting this stuff, but a living will. How you want things done, but also dealing with the health. Where you want to do, you keep them on the machine, or you let them go because they say I don't want. I mean, those are so important things.
And you may very well be surprised when you ask somebody whether or not they want their life prolonged by machines. A lot of people do not. But if you don't tell us that at the hospital, we don't know that. And we treat aggressively unless we know differently. And at some point in time, many people are more satisfied to say, if I'm not going to get any better, just let me go. And if your child or your family has heard that coming out of your mouth, it's a whole lot easier than them having to try to make that decision with no foresight, no talking about it. And like I say, we want to know who we need to talk to if something happens to you. Because we have to go through this blood relative hierarchy, and we have to find people if you have not designated who your healthcare power of attorney is or your healthcare agent. The healthcare power of attorney can be completed in North Carolina. You have to have a notary and two witnesses. So all three of us are notaries. We can get it notarized and witnessed for you. We can get a copy of it put in your electronic health record at the hospital. And the real beauty of that is if you were to have an accident or that unforeseen incident and you presented at our emergency room, they could actually pull up your documents and know who to call immediately. If they have your driver's license or some way to identify you, then they know if you're unconscious or you can't speak, whatever, then they know who to call, that you want to make medical decisions for you. Because some decisions may have to be made, and we want to make sure we are talking to the right person.
And I like to hit just a question is where, let's say I live in North Carolina, but my tragedy happened in Florida. Now I don't know if the apps, and just me asking the question is, we have an app here. It's called, I believe it's called My Chart, and we can put that information because we use it to find out whether what medicine we got to
Right.
pick up and where's my blood pressure at and all that other stuff. But my question is that something that say I'm in Florida and a tragedy happened? Is that something that I'm at that hospital, is that something to be executed in any state that I'm in that has with concerning of my health or how I want things to be done?
What we have found is that most states have a reciprocal agreement with North Carolina because our requirements are so strict for our healthcare power of attorney and living will. Because we require the notary and two witnesses, a lot of states just require a notary or two witnesses, and we require both. That most states will honor our documents.
Yes,
If you were in Florida and needed those documents, our physicians here at ECU Health have told us that if you call them, they can release that information to the other hospital because it's continuity of care. It would not be a HIPAA violation. So we should be able to help share that information and get it where it needs to be. Right now, we do not have it showing up in My Chart. It's one of the things that we're working on because there's some firewalls there that we have to work through for it to transfer from your electronic health record at the hospital to your My Chart. But those are things that we're working for in the future.
And maybe I'm just thinking as a consumer. So if I have this set up how I want my advanced planning, how I want things done, I can also incorporate that with, if those who have a living will, they can incorporate that with their attorneys, a
Oh, yeah.
representative of the family, because you can also put a representative and say they have this document, and you call them as an emergency,
Right.
in
Exactly.
situation.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, most attorneys, when they do the property will and the durable power of attorney for your finances, they do documents very similar to what we do as far as healthcare power of attorney and living will. There's usually 4 documents that they will complete as part of their estate planning. It's just that we can go ahead and get these 2 documents in place for you, whether or not you want to go plan your estate right now or not. And these are documents that are not just for old people, because we all know it's not just old people that have tragedies.
Yes.
And we want children, anybody over the age of 18 actually needs to have a healthcare power of attorney and a living will in place. And the living will is the document that just tells us if two doctors were to agree that you were not going to get any better and that you probably were going to die within a relatively short period of time, how aggressive would you want us to treat you? How aggressively would you want us to do? Would you want us to let you die naturally, which is a very natural process? It's organs shut down automatically. It's just very natural, very beautiful process. If you've ever seen someone die, it really is pretty fascinating. But if you want aggressive care the whole time, then that's what we will try to provide. At some point in time, it's not going to work, but we won't do what you want us to do. I think about if I'm unconscious and don't know where I am, what's going on around me, I don't particularly want to lie in a hospital bed for 3 or 4 months while they try to keep me going. But that's my choice.
Right.
And my choice is fine for me, but it might not be fine for someone else. So we need to know what your choice is.
And I'm glad that we all got choices because, you think about a person who has a stable of horses and he knows that his animal is suffering so bad. It's not like they have a choice. He just get in and take them out of their misery.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Finish
Now, we're not doing that now.
Okay, just take 'em-
We're not there yet. No.
But I will say that I think that a lot of times people like pull away trying to set that up. And I'm just talking from my experience, even with people having life insurance, that knowing that it's going to take certain amount of funds to pitch you away, but they just don't look at that. I mean, it's like even in my own family, majority of them don't have a life insurance,
And we're a very death-defying nation. We think it's optional. For some reason, we think we can keep people alive forever. People don't want to face their mortality. And that's one of the things that we try to do in some of these community events is give you some resources, give you some information, so it won't be such a scary process. Because we're all going to die. Ben Franklin said it very well. There's 2 things in life that you can depend on. You're going to pay taxes and you're going to die. So, and that's one of the reasons that April is National Healthcare Decisions Month, because you pay your taxes on the 15th, and we want you to set aside a little time on the 16th and after to get your health affairs in order.
It's amazing you said that even about pastors. There's sometimes that we have that folks want certain people to do the eulogies. Sometimes they want their own pastor. They put this in written what they wanted.
Exactly.
And sometimes it make us feel awkward going to a place, and I've been there a few times where, I didn't know none of the people other than person who passed away, and they had it already set up me to come do the eulogy because we had a conversation like, okay, but
they know you well. They knew you could handle it.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But and I'm quite sure that may be where most people don't understand that it's so important to have that advanced planning. So let me ask the question, and for those listening to this audience right now at this broadcast, and they're saying, well, how do I get more information on that, and maybe we need to, I need to talk to my wife, I need to talk to my husband, and we need to look at how do they get involved with this here?
Well, actually, we do community events here in Greenville once or twice a month. I go to the Pitt Council on Aging 4 times a year, and you can actually look on our website to see exact dates and things, and that's ecuhealth.org. And go to advanced care or go to events. If you go to events and pull up Greenville, then it'll pull up, ask for advanced care planning, then it'll pull up everything that we're doing. I do to AmeriHealth Caritas once a month now, and that's been pretty successful. We go anywhere we're invited. If anybody invites us out to a church or an organization or a club meeting, we do a lot of like Rotary Club and different clubs. We do a lot of sorority work. And fraternity is not as much as sororities, but they have invited us out just to have the conversation, to start talking about it. And that's mainly what our goal is, to get you talking about it, and then we move into the next steps. We have a toolkit that we use, which is very helpful, and you can kind of work yourself through that toolkit, and then we can come back. What we normally do is we go do an educational program, and then maybe 3 or 4 weeks later, we'll come back and help people complete their documents if they're ready. Because we want you to go home and think about it. We want you to go home and talk to your family. We don't want you just to sign papers to be signing them. We want to make sure it's what you really want, and it's the person that you really want to represent you.
I like that because a lot of times people don't know. They get nervous when you talk. You said something key, is that you may be jinxing me
Yeah,
before time,
right,
and
right.
while I'm preparing myself for death, which is the same thing. You get in your vehicle, you have insurance.
Yeah,
I mean,
yep,
why you have that then?
yep.
Why just to drive without insurance? I mean, but we have insurance
Hmm.
for our vehicles to drive it from the dealership out when they first tell you they want to, need
Yeah.
to see your insurance and send me a copy of the binder, you know.
Hmm.
But and I believe that as people know how important it is to get things set up where you giving them education, and not just you giving them the education where they can understand it, then they know what direction they're going into, and it's easy to explain it to them. So you mentioned that you do education for them, so and you do it in any kind of group setting. So let's say there's a group that said we have a church, or we a youth ministry, or we just a bunch of people in a Bible study. We
Hmm.
was reading
That's
on that.
wonderful.
We just would you be able to go to those groups and explain
Absolutely.
to them? You know,
Absolutely. That's what we do. And we love doing it. I've been to family reunions. I've
oh
been to
wow.
wine tastings. They were fun, but we didn't let them sign the documents after they finished their wine. But yeah, but we've been everywhere. And yeah, family reunion was really interesting because people, did not want me to come at first. And by the end of the time there, they were asking questions and wanted to get their stuff done too. So it's just a matter of opening up your mind to it, and then realizing that once you get it done, it's done for a while. It's nothing. It's nothing that you can't go back and change. It's not written in stone by any means, and we want to change. What I wanted when I was 30 is a little bit different than what I want now. But yeah, so you can change it at any time. All you do is complete a new document, and we go with the one with the most recent date. So,
Now, have you ever had when anybody that that went through the training and was hesitated and then came back and say, Miss Vicky, you are so right.
yeah, we have a lot of that. A lot of times, we have people that come to our educational programs 4 and 5 times and just listen and ask questions. And I mean, sometimes we had one person that got our toolkit, and I think it was a couple of years later that he came back and actually completed it. And he said he just couldn't make himself, just couldn't get it done. And then something happened in his family, and someone else had been through a death, and he saw how messy it was. And he said, I know, I need to get this done now. And why? And he came back and did it that next meeting.
So what I'm hearing that you do education, but you also have a toolbox for them to kind of go over and read the materials and things like that.
Absolutely.
And here's the key question of the question of the question. What the question is, what is the fee for that? Is there a price for
Oh,
that? Is
that's
it?
the best part. This is free.
Oh,
It's a free service. And because really, we at ECU Health feel like it's that important because we really do want to be the kind of hospital you want us to be. And we really do want to do what you want us to do. And the only way we can do that is if we get out there and know what you want and help you put that in writing so we will know while you're living what you want us to do. I mean, it's really important what you do after death, too. Those things have to be planned for as well. But even while you're in the hospital, we want to make sure we're doing what you want us to do.
and I say to you, Ms. Vicky, that is so very important for them to know that when these things happen, and to me, I was looking at a few things. One, if I'm in a situation and no one can understand, at least I put it in my package. Well, this is what I want done.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
I already know that I want my organs to be donated because I try to eat as fresh food as I can. The reason I gain weight because I'm probably eating those cakes that he's supposed to be eating with my wife.
She
and
cooks too well, right?
she cooked too well, but I hide those Oreo cookies and she move them away and I find them. So I'm gonna get better now. I mean, So, but I just feel that those are things where
Yeah,
the organ be donated.
exactly.
You also want to make sure, well, this is how I want to go. And then the third part, and that's another person, well, this is how I want my funeral to be arranged. I mean, sometimes, and it's amazing that, and this might jump off topic, the way I like to go, I told my wife, hey, I like to probably be, my thoughts being cremated, you know what I'm saying? That's my choice. And
Right.
she said no. And when we have conversation, then we put it in
Exactly.
writing,
Exactly.
and then we talked about it. Now we have something in stone. So whoever came there, well, whether he did or not, this is what he wanted, and what she wanted, this is what she wanted, because our children would come in the mix and they would start so much drama and fighting.
You have a drama queen in your family.
Oh, there's in every family.
I think so too, and I think as pastors, you probably find them all.
Yeah.
But this helps resolve some of those issues. It really does, because and what we recommend is that you talk to your whole family, not just the person you choose as your healthcare agent, but the ones you didn't choose. So they'll understand they're not the one that's going to be making decisions. They're not the ones that need to go up to the hospital and rant and rave and carry on. That you've made your decisions, you've talked to this person, and they're honoring your choices. They're doing what you want them to do. And that's why you pick the right person to do what you want them to do. If somebody tells you they can't, say I didn't want to be on the machine, or I didn't want to be on a ventilator, and somebody says, well, I couldn't do that, I want to keep you on the ventilator, then I don't want that person to be my healthcare agent. It's just that simple. I appreciate them, and I appreciate their honesty, but I'm going to find somebody that wants to do it the way I want to do it.
And Ms. Vicki, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, that's right on. You're right on point.
Yeah.
We are running out of time. Is there any information that you can tell them they want to contact you? How can they contact you?
Sure. They can call me anytime. It's Vicki Daltrey. My number is 252-341-3986. And if you want to go to our website, it's ecuhealth.org/advanced care. You can download our toolkit there so you can get started looking at it. There's some videos there you can watch, and the process is kind of outlined for you. And then go to ecuhealth.org events/events, and you can find out where we'll be in the Greenville community.
Ms. Vicki, I want to thank you for being on the broadcast. As you have heard today, we all going to leave here. I mean, I said the first time, Jesus brought Lazarus out, but the second time the undertaker took him. We all leaving here. So I would say to plan your life as well as you planning your homecoming as you leave here and getting your affairs in order. I don't think it's wrong for a family who have to put you away, which they're going to already miss you, and have to deal with all of the drama. Please get this information, share it. She will come out, do free workshops, information in 2 boxes for you. Please take a look at the movie Invitation of Life. God bless you, and we'll see you at our next broadcast.